Why are they removing maps at all? I don't understand. The game has become so repetitive at this point. There are only like what, 7 maps in the map pool? Just add them all together. I want to play a bit of Fracture, Icebox, and Pearl. I want to vomit from playing the same 7 maps for months with the 3 best maps removed. This reply is in response to a tweet made by VALORANT Updates announcing the return of Icebox and the removal of Haven with the release of episode 8. For almost the past 2 years, VALORANT has limited the amount of maps available to 7, frustrating many people in the community. It's gotten to the point where maps like Pearl and Fracture haven't been seen for almost half a year, leading many players to wonder, why is VALORANT removing maps? Although the VALORANT team is often criticized for their decision to have a limited map pool, it's important to take a look at their reasoning for only allowing 7 maps to be available at a time. On June 16, 2022, Riot would post an article explaining their decision on why Split was removed from the map pool and replaced with Pearl. Although the article isn't very detailed, they'd go on to state the following. Simply put, too many maps to learn can feel overwhelming and doesn't give some of you the opportunity to really go deep on any one of them. The team thinks 7 is a nice sweet spot that offers both variety and mastery. New players will have an easier onboarding experience, and pro teams get to have deeper, more exciting playbooks. So in simple terms, Riot is looking to keep the map pool limited to 7 to prevent professional teams from having to master too many maps and to prevent new players from getting overwhelmed with the amount of maps available. As time would go on, VALORANT would continue to have maps taken in and out of the game on a consistent basis. However, as more and more maps were becoming unavailable to play, the community would begin to take issue with the Riot's justification. A thread made on the VALORANT subreddit titled "Bring Back the Maps" would go on to state the following. I don't think it's necessary for Riot to be taking certain maps out of the map pool. I think the game would feel much more fun if Pearl, Haven, and Fracture were brought back into the map pool with the other maps because it feels like I'm playing the same map every game. I just don't see why limiting the map pool for competitive is necessary when there aren't that many maps. Many of the comments that would follow under this thread would generally be in agreement with the original poster and would complain about how the limited map pool is making the game stale. Replies that would reiterate Riot's justifications in catering to professional teams would be met with further pushback. Has to do with VCT specifically. For how map selection works, they need a specific number. Each team gets a ban and they each choose one, then the last map is default selected as a tiebreaker. If they added more, they'd have to change how it works. Oh yeah, I forgot that every player is in VCT. Although not wanting to overwhelm new players with too many maps may be justifiable to some extent, removing maps for the sake of professional play is still regarded as a dumb decision. One of the biggest comparison points for VALORANT's limited map pool has to do with Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike has a separate map pool for professional play called active duty maps. These are maps that are considered balanced by Valve and are allowed to be played in tournaments. Although what separates the system in VALORANT and Counter-Strike is the ability to select which maps you want to play, there is no reason Riot couldn't implement a similar feature and remove the limit on the maps available to the community. Now that we've gone over Riot's main reasoning behind removing maps, it's important to consider a possible alternative motive. What we'll discuss next is nothing more than a theory on another reason why VALORANT may be limiting the maps available, so keep in mind there really isn't much solid proof to back this up.
I saw Icebox is coming back! Icebox is finally back, but why? Your stay in paradise has been upgraded. At the start of episode 7, act 2, Breeze will return to the map rotation with a few changes. Buying this back already? Already though? Let's see.
There is a possibility that Riot may be bringing maps in and out of the map pool to create artificial hype. VALORANT typically releases new agents every 3 to 4 months, and new maps are usually added to the game every 6 months. So for the most part, new content being added to the game is usually few and far between. And as a result, there isn't much for the community to be excited about while new maps and agents are still in development. However, that's where the artificial hype comes in. When old maps are added back into the game, it's almost as if the community is receiving a new piece of content. Excitement is built throughout the player base, as some even return to the game for the sake of playing an old map as if it was something new. Split used to be considered one of VALORANT's worst maps, however, when it returned to the game, it created an immense amount of excitement in the community. Fracture has been removed from the map pool for over 6 months. However, despite it also being considered one of VALORANT's worst maps, many people continue to ask for it to be returned to the game, and chances are, its return will be met with the same excitement as Split. Although this is nothing more than a theory, it's possible that this may be a secondary motive for VALORANT's limited map pool. The game is often criticized for its lack of new content, so recycling old maps makes it feel like there's new content being added to the game more often.